Hi guys, welcome to the stream of doing my Darkness Metal Cube. We will be going over like the individual Pokemon lines, maybe what they'll look like in decks and stuff. We had done like a pre-draft of this before. It was enjoyable. Maybe we'll go over those too if we have time. So we'll start off with the Crobat line.
Awesome. Yeah, let's get into it. I think that...
Yeah, and we have my friend Brandon with us.
Surprise! Surprise! Hello, everyone. I am a BKSSB, not to self-promote, but definitely here to support. So, very excited to be on the stream. For anyone that is unfamiliar with me or my role, I help and I guess started a Cube League in St. Cloud, where we draft monthly, and this year is going to be a big year for us as we've restructured our league, and we're going to be playing a couple different cubes this year, and really working to refine the cubing experience to make fun and balanced cubes that provide variety and allow our players to expand their knowledge in the TCG, grow as players, and as well, I guess, just get to learn a lot of different cards and see a lot of different things. So very exciting. My personal history with the trading card game, I've been playing competitively off and on since 2004. I was very young, and I've got a couple regionals and state top three, definitely some state top threes under my belt. So I'm not an expert, but I'm hoping that I can help provide some insight as to this era, as this was a big era in which I was active. So yeah, sorry, I don't mean to steal your thunder there at all. I just wanted to give a little bit of an introduction, I suppose.
No, it's great. Like we are a Cube channel here. I've just been expanding a little bit, so
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I just pulled up the first Crobat here. So the whole point of this line is basically to poison your opponent's Pokemon. So we've got Flutter Kick for one colorless. Flip a coin if heads. Look at your opponent's hand. Choose a card from it. And, discard that card. That's really good. I mean, it's a stage 2, but
yeah, I think that
ripping a card out of your opponent's hand is really good.
Yes. Anything that you can do to get yourself in a more advantageous position, especially in card advantage, is going to make a huge difference. I think that one thing that really kicks this era up is that for the first time, you're seeing a lot of these stage 2s that not only have that 80 to 120 HP, which is significantly higher than the previous era, but just the speed in which you can get some of these stage 2s into play with better supporter and trainer cards in this era. So cards like this, even though they sometimes don't look as attractive in the initial draft as the EXs, can sometimes be the sleeper hits. And the nicest thing is that they only take one prize. I think that's such an important thing for anyone who would be looking to draft a cube similar to this, is just to remember that you can't sleep on the non-EXs, because honestly, sometimes they're going to be the game winners for you.
Yeah, very good. I'm sorry, I'm like terrible at this. Let's
No, that's okay. You're doing great.
So triple poison, 10 damage for a grass and a colorless, and then they take 3 damage in between turns. Really good for poison. Knocks them out pretty quick. Crobat EX. We got 130 HP grass Pokemon. Pokemon power. Once during your turn, before you attack, if Crobat EX is your active Pokemon, put 1 damage counter on one of your opponent's Pokemon. This power can't be used if he's affected by a special condition. We've got cross attack to colorless energy 20 times. You flip 4 coins. 20 damage for each heads. If 2 or more heads, they're now confused, which is a sleeper, I think. Like, don't underestimate confusion. With confusion, it makes it so if they attack or retreat, they have to flip a coin. If tails, they end up taking 20 damage, and it negates whatever they were trying to do. So if they try to retreat, doesn't happen. If they try to attack, it doesn't happen. So great on that front. And then Pastor 60 plus, if they're if the defending Pokemon's affected by special condition, does 40 more damage. Great EX. Not much else to say about that.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. I mean, the way the moves scale on this EX2 is really powerful. That you can get it going with 2 energies and hit the combo next turn. For some really, I mean, in most situations, they might not even attack you back or try to retaliate depending on what you've confused. The hard thing with retreating too is if they don't have an active switch card, if they declare retreat, they still need to discard the energy prior to retreating. So if you put your opponent confused, they're going to be in a really tough spot against Crobat. And in a lot of situations, the initial confusion, if they go, and then the additional damage is going to almost guarantee you the 1-2 punch knockout. So I think for the value this card provides, easily if you can get the confusion into the pester, you're going to see a lot of knockouts in this cube.
And we'll move on to Dark Crobat here. 90 HP stage 2. We've got Poke Power, Black Beam. Once during your turn, before you attack, if this card is your active Pokemon, you may choose one of the defending Pokemon. That Pokemon's now poison. So out of nowhere, it can just poison something, which is great. Can't use it if he's affected by a special condition. We've got Dark Drain, does 10 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. Don't apply weakness and resistance to bench, usually on most cards. Remove from Dark Crobat number of damage counters equal to the amount of damage number of your opponent's Pokemon in play. Just heal up, which is great. And then does Skill Dive for Grass and a Colorless. 30 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. So if you just need to snipe something somewhere to get that extra prize card, or in the case of an EX, if you didn't quite get there, you can just knock them out and get the extra prizes.
Yeah, absolutely. Just having a tool in your arsenal that can get along around the weakness and resistant as well on the bench is super powerful.
And
so
then,
another great card.
We can talk about like why we have dark and stuff real quick here. So the main point of this cube is for the dark energies or darkness energies, which deal 10 more damage while it's attached to a dark Pokemon. However, I mean, I guess it does 10 extra damage as long as it's attached to a Pokemon. And then if it's not a dark Pokemon, it takes 10 more damage when it gets hit. And then we've got the metal energy. So the opposite side of this. As long as it's attached to a Pokemon, they take 10 less damage. And then if they aren't a metal Pokemon, then they deal 10 less damage. So I wanted to try to push these cards as far as possible in this cube. So that's why I wanted to make this cube.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting concept, and I think thematically it plays. As someone who's tested it once, it's really fun because it balances itself in a way that traditionally I wouldn't recommend somebody just grab one color in a draft and try to only draft one color, because they might be like limiting themselves out of really creative options. But the way that each type of dark or metal is really synergistic in this cube, and you'll see that as we go through more of the cards here. It just makes for a really fun cube, but you have to be mindful of the tools, the special energies, things like that, because they're gonna really elevate your deck and your ability to succeed.
Okay, so we'll finish off the Crobat line here real quick. Just short talking about the basic and the stage 1 here. So we got Dark Golbat, does 30 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon, and then he can't use it next turn for 1 grass energy. 30 damage somewhere for 1 grass is great. Other Golbat, we got Poison Soundwave, flip a coin. If heads, the defending Pokemon is now confused. If tails, the defending Pokemon is not poisoned. So either way, you get something good. And then for 3 colorless, 30 plus, strength in numbers, does 30 plus 10 more for each Zubat, Golbat, Crobat on your bench. So maybe you just need extra power to be able to knock something out. And he's just a great card, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And you see, kind of like we talked about earlier, Poison Soundwave combos perfectly onto that energy curve for Pester in a Crobat EX. So I can see it being very possible getting off that that move by Golbat, that Poison Soundwave, knowing that you're going to evolve to the Crobat EX on your next turn. You're going to guarantee the special condition, and on your next turn, you're going to be able to swing for 100. And chances are, you know, if they got poisoned, they've got 20 on them already. 120 is going to knock out most things in this cube in one shot.
Zubat's here. We got 50 HP basic. Quick turn does 10. You flip 2 coins, does 10 times the number of heads. And then we got surprise. Choose one card from your opponent's hand without looking. Look at the card you chose, and then they shuffle it into the deck. Just shuffling a random card again is great card advantage for you. You could get rid of that like supporter card that they were holding on to, or that stage 2 that they were waiting to evolve into, or
it reminds me of the last strategies of the earlier era of the TCG. Sometimes if you can get something gone that's really crucial for their setup early that they didn't get a good mulligan into, you can really trap your opponent.
And then we got the Psychic Zubat. This is a newer one, but he's only got 40 HP, so not too bad there. Free Flight, which they put on the newer cards. Not it was after 5th gen when they implemented the ability versus Pokemon Power, Pokemon Body. So Free Flight, if the Pokemon has no energy attached to it, it has no retreat cost. So being able to switch around pretty easily. And then you're not really using the wing attack, but if you had to, you have Psychic and a colorless for 20 straight damage. All in all, I think the Crobat line is really good.
Yeah, I would agree for sure. You know, my closing thoughts on the Crobat line is that you have a very low energy curve. People that are going to be using the Crobat line in their decks can keep in mind that they may not need to run as many energies in their deck as some of the other lines we'll see going down the road, as a lot of Crobat's best attacks here can be done with just 2 energy cards. You know, another thing I would keep in mind as well when running Crobat is if you're not pairing it with another Psychic pairing, that a Rainbow Energy could maybe help you get off an early wing attack, but I wouldn't specifically go out of my way to run any Psychic energies just to power wing attack. Your main goal is going to be to try to get these Zubats down. Obviously, if you've got the Free Flight ones, that makes for excellent setup situations early game, where you know that if you've got one Zubat that you're setting up a little bit more and starting to get that energy curve, that you could quickly switch in another one and retreat that and use maybe healing items, scoop up items, or any other things that are available in the cube to mitigate some of that damage. So yeah, I think that's a great line.
All right, so we're going into Flygon now. Okay, so this one got used against me in the pre-draft here.
Tell us about that.
It hits hard, let me tell you. So 120, stage 2, colorless, energy shower for a grass and a lightning. Attach any number of basic energy cards from your hand to Pokemon in any way you like. Really good energy acceleration. You just load up your hand and go to town. And then we got Rainbow Burn, 3 colorless energy, does 30 plus, does 10 more damage for each type of basic energy attached to it. So you just load it up with like 5 or 6 different energy, and you're hitting for 90 damage, which is like really good. You can knock out most things. So yeah, like just a lot of the dragons in here are weak to colorless, so, and we've got like a couple different dragons here for sure. Any other thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I think that this is one that is definitely going to fall into a trap of people that haven't done their homework. I think that when you are quickly drafting, if you're not familiar with the abilities that a lot of these cards have, and this is why I'm such an advocate for actually going through a cube. Services like Cube Koga weren't there years ago, and it's really cool that you have such a robust tool available to you, because if you were looking at this card very quickly, it looks pretty unassuming for a stage 2. I mean, you really look at the Rainbow Burn, you're like, oh, it's just going to do 30 plus 10 more, and then Energy Shower, like you might just quickly thumb past this as you're looking for like a stronger supporter. But I think the players that are going to use some patience and read the cards are really going to realize that, like I said before, is that the EXs are very good, but there's so many good sleeper stage 2s in this cube that could really just come up and creep you. And like you said, this one, you've noticed it firsthand, can really rock you really quickly if you're not careful with it.
All right, so we're moving on to Flygon EX.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's check them out.
150 HP, stage 2, EX, so when it gets knocked out, they take 2 prizes. Pokemon Power, Emerge Charge. So I was able to play this one during our pre-draft. Emerge Charge. Once during your turn, when you play Flygon EX from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may search your discard pile for up to 2 energy cards and attach them. Keyword being energy cards there. So you can take like metal energy or darkness energy and straight up attach it to something. With this one, we'll talk about here in a sec. Reactive Blast does 40 plus for a lightning and a colorless. You may discard any number of react energy cards, attach to Flygon EX. If you do, this attack does 40 plus 30 more damage for each energy discarded that you discarded. So you're trying to, I mean, it's weird because I'm allowing people to have 4 react energy, but I mean, you can figure out ways to discard them and then attach them to him. I just kind of use it as like an energy acceleration for his Emerge Charge.
Absolutely.
And then we've got Dragon Claw for 100 damage for a grass, lightning, and 3 colorless. I like playing with it. It was fun.
For sure. And I think that if you use the react energies properly too, that Dragon Blast becomes such a better move, because that 5 energy cost really looks daunting for 100 damage. But if you can get the Emerge Charge to pop off early, you're looking at only attaching 3 energy cards for 100 damage output, and then you kind of are able to use Reactive Blast as kind of the the last stand. It's a very common anime trope. That they always get their hardest punch at the end of their life. Well, I can see Flygon being very good at that, especially like I said, to an unassuming opponent that maybe doesn't realize that you can punch higher than that 100 if you're willing to discard the react energies you have attached to it. So,
all right.
Yes, another great card.
So, Flygon Delta. So this is a metal Pokemon with its grass typing as well. Pokemon Power Delta Supply. Once during your turn, before you attack, you may attach a basic energy card or a Delta Rainbow Energy card from your hand to one of your Pokemon that has Delta in its card. This power can be used if he's affected by a special condition, as are most powers. Then we've got Swift, 60 damage for Grass, Metal Colorless. This attack isn't affected by weakness, resistance, Pokemon powers, Pokemon bodies, or any other effects on the defending Pokemon. So you're just hitting straight 60 damage every time.
Absolutely.
And just it's energy acceleration with a basic energy or that Delta Rainbow. All right.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. This is one of the cards in the cube that I would define as honest. It just there's no tricks, there's no gimmicks. It's just a very solid card. I really think it is. And I know there's been a lot of complaints in the past about feeling like your deck can get stonewalled due to the weaknesses or resistances. But so far, as you've seen in the Flygon line and the Crobat line, each of these lines already is giving players opportunities to get around some of those weaknesses and resistance. So it makes both of these lines very playable.
All right, we got Delta Vibrava, 80 HP, Grass, Stage 1, knock away for 2 colorless energy, 20 plus, flip a coin. If heads, it does 10 more damage. And then Cutting Wind, 40 damage for a Grass and double 2 colorless. You can search it out with certain cards. The fact that it's a Delta species gives it additional weight for some things. Pretty simple.
Yeah, absolutely.
Trapinch here, another Delta, 50 HP, Grass, Big Bite for Grass Energy, 10 damage. The defending Pokemon can't retreat during your next turn. Sometimes you just want to lock your opponent. And then we've got Mud Slap for 2 colorless, 20 damage. Just simple basic. Helps you evolve into your Flygon there.
All right. Yep, absolutely. One of the building blocks. I just there's another one where I point out that having those 50 HP basics are very good, especially if you're able to build out your trainer lines, things like that. You shouldn't be stuck on that basic for too long, but you'll be put in a great position where you're more than likely not going to get one-shotted on it and be able to set up into these very powerful stage trees.
All right, we'll move into our final grass Pokemon here. We got Dark Muck. Stage 1, we got Pokebody, Sticky Goo, as long as it is your active Pokemon. Your opponent must pay 2 more energy to retreat his or her active Pokemon. Again, just making your opponent stick is sometimes what you want. We got Slimy Water, 10 times, does 10 times the number of colorless energy and the defending Pokemon's retreat cost. So he's already adding 2 on with his ability. So if they're like super heavy, they could have 6 retreat, and then you're hitting for 6 for 2 energy on a stage 1, which is really good.
Yes.
And then we got Acidic Poison for a grass, colorless, 10 damage. The defending Pokemon's now burned and poisoned.
Yes, this is so this card, I have a lot of choice words about this card. This card was used against me in the practice cube to very great effect. Not only does the typing really work with some of the trainer stadium cards that we'll go over later that gives Dark extra benefit and not only health but damage output, but it's just nasty. It's just nasty. That burn poison very quickly, it does 10 damage, but it very quickly becomes a much higher number. And with the sticky goo ability, it makes it very, very difficult and resource intensive to retreat. So it's a very good, like, kind of touch of death type of ability that can get out very quickly as a stage 1. So yes, I think this is going to be a card I think that gets slept on initially, because I don't think people really realize how strong that is.
I just noticed that there's a mess up here. It's 70 HP, not 80 HP.
Okay. I suppose I'm used to it being 80 HP though.
Right.
In combination with an excellent trainer that we will definitely go over a little bit later.
All right. So we got regular Monk here, grass Pokemon, 70 HP. We've got Pokebody, Stench. As long as Muck is your active Pokemon, each player's Pokemon can't use Pokepowers. Alright, easy enough. We got Poison Ring, 20 damage. Grass, colorless, the defending Pokemon is now poisoned. The defending Pokemon can't retreat during your opponent's next turn. So they just have to stick there, which is great again. And then we've got Sludge Toss, grass, 2 colorless, 50 damage. Straight, nice and easy. Pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. The only thing that's not good is that artwork. It still haunts my dreams.
Alright, we'll move into Muck EX here. Moving right
Perfect.
along. 100 HP, grass, toxic gas, Pokebody. As long as it is your active Pokemon, ignore all Pokemon powers, Pokemon bodies, except for toxic gas. So just shutting down your opponent's abilities again. Poison Breath, 10 damage for 1 grass. The defending Pokemon's not poisoned. Simple. And then we got 2 grass. Slimy Water, 40 plus, 2 grass, 1 colorless. Does 40 damage plus 10 more damage for each colorless energy in the defending Pokemon's retreat. So this one works right along with the other ones. They all have that same, like, not letting your opponent retreat, poison them, and hit them for damage.
Absolutely. These can be cards that are very, very versatile either way. They can either lead with them, but at the same exact time, I think they can be very disrupting cards for the stages of, like, I can see this being very effective right when your opponent starts to build tempo.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, they just got out a fresh EX, or have a new Pokemon with a strong ability in play. I can see this really helping be the negotiator and something to even out the game and kind of get you off the back foot. Another one of those cards it's quick to get on the bench and set up with the low energy costs and the very aggressive attacks. And retreat effects. I think that this is going to be a sleeper hit in the queue.
Okay, so we got Grimers here. 2 of these Ascension ones. So a grass energy. Search your deck that evolves from Grimer, and put it on it. Shuffle your deck afterward. You're basically only using the Ascension, but we'll talk about Sludge Toss real quick. 2 colorless, 20 damage. Just basically using it for the Ascension so that way you can get out your Muck on turn 1. And then we've got the second Grimer. 1 colorless, Taunt. Choose one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, switch it with a defending Pokemon, your opponent chooses a defending Pokemon. Well, that part doesn't matter. Basically, you're just making it so they switch out their active with one of their bench. And it's all your choice there. And then we've got Spit Poison, 2 colorless, 10 damage. The defending Pokemon's not poison. The taunt is really good on this. Making your opponent be able to switch for 1 colorless is really good.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Okay, so we'll move right along here. Salamence.
Salamence. What a fun card. What a fun line, I should say. Beyond card.
Alright, so we've got 120 HP, colorless, stage 2, Pokemon Power, Dragon Wind. Once during your turn before you attack, if Salamence is your active Pokemon, you may switch the opponent's bench with the defending Pokemon. Your opponent... that part doesn't matter. Because we're only playing one active Pokemon. Can't use it if he's affected by a special condition. A lot of the grass Pokemon there had affecting special conditions. So, and then we got Agility for 20. Flip a coin. If heads, prevent effects of an attack, including damage done to Salamence during your opponent's next turn. So you got a 50-50 chance of not being affected by your opponent. And then we've got Dragon Claw, 60 damage for a fire, water, and 2 colorless energy. And it's that dragon type, so it's weak to colorless, which is very... we call something later, and we'll let you know when that happens. But it's great. This card's great, making your opponent switch out their card. Perfect. And then maybe not taking damage during your opponent's next turn.
Yes, absolutely. I think it just feeds into the fact that I think a lot of people look at cards and think that they need to be all DPS or very tanky. This is a great example of a card that trades some of its DPS, but really has powerful tools to switch, like we talked about with tempo and momentum. I mean, having a built-in gust of wind into your card is pretty insane, and not to mention that if you are able to camp out and stall using agility, Salamence could be sitting out there a very long time and could exhaust quite a bit of your opponent's resources trying to find a way to work around this card. Yes, I think this is a very great card.
All right, moving right along to Salamence EX. We've got 160 HP, stage 2. Colorless
Thick
Pokemon.
boy.
Yeah, thick boy. Pokemon Body, Dragon Lift. The retreat cost for each of your Pokemon, excluding EX Pokemon, is 0. So he lets everything retreat for free. We got Flame Jet for 1 fire and a colorless. Choose one of your opponent's Pokemon. This attack does 40 damage to that Pokemon. This attack isn't affected by weakness and resistance. So just sniping something for 40 damage, great. And then we've got Bright Flame, the fire, water, 2 colorless again, 120 damage, discard 2 energies attached to it. So just hitting big damage on that active Pokemon there.
Absolutely, and it's another card that it's great as a utility card. So like Salamence EX can be great as an attacker, but I think it can be even just as powerful to sit on the bench and kind of be that sleeping giant that your opponent can see and knows it's there and knows it's ready to wreak havoc. And with moves like Flame Jet, it can really combo with some of the other Pokemon in this cube to get around active Pokemon.
All right, then we got Salamence Delta now. It's a fire and metal energy, or fire and metal Pokemon. Fire Dance for a fire and a colorless does 30 damage. Search your discard pile for a fire energy. How many times can I say fire here? Fire energy card. Attach it to one of your Pokemon. So just nice energy acceleration. And then we've got Delta Blast, 100 damage for fire, metal, 2 colorless energy. Discard a metal energy attached to Salamence. Good card. Like,
good card. Yes.
yeah.
Yes. I think it can be another great secondary to Salamence EX. You know, as you are maybe discarding energies off Salamence EX to kind of burst, you can then use the free retreat to send up a card like this, and then use Fire Dance to accelerate this one, and kind of play that swap game. I think it's got very, very great typing. It's got some really interesting resistances that aren't expected, but that's one of my favorite things about the Delta species type cards, is that they really twist the expectations of the line. So yes, I think another great card to consider if it packs to you, and you're looking for a line to get into. I don't think you can go wrong with Salamence.
Talk about the stage 1 in basic real quick. Shelgon. There's 2 different ones that we have here. We've got 70 HP, fire, Pokemon body, exoskeleton. Any damage done to this is reduced by 10. So, and you're trying to put the metal energy on it already, so just reduce it even more. The other one, we've got 80 HP, stage 1, tight jaw, 10 damage, flip a coin. If heads, the defending Pokemon's now paralyzed for fire energy. And then we got combustion for 40 damage for a fire and 2 colorless energy. Simple enough. Flygon, or sorry, Bagon. 50 HP basic, bite for 1 colorless. Sure, just simple.
Yep.
And then we've got this other Bagon, 50 HP basic, ember, fire, colorless, 30 damage. Discard a fire energy attached to Bagon.
Yeah, and one thing I love about pointing out cards like this is that it might hurt short term to be discarding an energy attached to Bagon, but really if you follow the lineup and you know combo into Fire Dance, you're basically getting that fire energy guaranteed for free off your first Fire Dance. So I can see a scenario where turn 1 or turn 2, you are using the Ember. By stage through to turn 3, you're getting that Shelgon down, and then by turn 4, you've got your typical tempo. You maybe don't have enough to use the Delta Blast quite yet, but you can Fire Dance. That should get you that 4th energy back, and ready to start hitting for that 100. So yeah, great synergy in the line.
Moving on to Magcargo now. Dark Magcargo. 80 HP stage 1, fire dark Pokemon. Energy Press for colorless does 10 plus. 10 more damage for each basic energy card attached to all. That part doesn't matter. So it's just dealing 10 more damage for each basic energy attached to the active Pokemon. And then linear attack for a fighting and 2 colorless, even though it's a fire Pokemon. Choose one of your opponent's Pokemon. This attack does 40 damage to that Pokemon. So just sniping again for 40 damage.
Yep, and it seems like that's kind of a common theme with the 2 lines in fire there, that they do have some snipe potential. So it's something to think about when constructing your deck, is what are some other ways that you might be able to manipulate either who's on the bench or how to get around active to target the bench, and that could be an archetype for a deck.
All right, moving on to the next Magcargo here. Pokemon body, dual armor. As long as Magcargo has a fighting energy attached to it, which if you're playing the Dark Magcargo, you're probably playing fighting energy too. It counts as both fire and fighting. So hitting like some of the colorless Pokemon for extra damage. Just being fighting type is a bad option, obviously. And then we've got Smoke Screen, 30 damage, fire colorless, the defending Pokemon. attacks during your opponent's next turn, they flip a coin. If tails, it does nothing. Extra Flame, 40 damage plus, so a fire and 2 colorless. If the defending Pokemon is a Pokemon EX, it does 40 plus 30 more damage. So just being able to hit EXs for more damage.
Absolutely, I think that's huge. And that's a scary card if you are running Mr. Metagross EX in your deck.
All right. Magcargo EX. 100 HP. Fire Pokemon. Melting Mountain for fire energy, 20 damage. Discard the top card of your deck. If it's a basic energy card, attach it to it. So, simple acceleration. We've got Lava Flow for 2 fire, a colorless, 40 plus. You may discard any number of basic energy attached to this card when you do this attack. When you use this attack, if you do, this attack does 40 plus 20 more for each basic discarded. So if you just need that one hit punch, just discard those basic energy and go to town.
Absolutely. And it just synergies right back into itself. You'll find it a common theme that any of these cards that can punch for 120 are pretty much going to be one-shotting almost anything in this cube. And even cards that have a very scary high amount of HP, like we talk about the Metagross line quite a bit, are going to be able to take advantage of the weakness and still be able to threaten a one-hit KO with a card like Magcargo EX. So once again, it looks like something where you're like, oh, 100 HP, it's only going to hit for 40. But once you take into consideration how quickly you can get this thing moving, how it accelerates itself, and how the discard is only optional, it really becomes an ace up your sleeve.
All right. Talk about the Slugma here. Its eyes.
It's had way too much caffeine.
Yep. 50 HP basic. Collect for 1 colorless. Draw a card. Sure. Combustion, 1 fire. 10 damage. Simple. Set up Pokemon. Alright. We'll move on to water. Golduck. Dark Golduck here. We got... It's a water and dark Pokemon. Darkness Shield, 20 damage. Flip a coin. If heads, prevent effects of an attack, including damage done to each of your active Pokemon, which doesn't matter. You're just making it so he can't take damage during your next turn. Cold Crush, water, 2 colorless, 40 damage. You may discard an energy card attached to it. If you do, discard an energy card attached to the defending Pokemon.
Yes, that is very strong. Very strong. Energy removal is so strong. And especially in this cube, if you go first and are able to get Dark Golduck early, you can really, really, really push your opponent behind in tempo for energy cards using a card like this one.
Awesome. Alright, and we got 3 of those in the cube. Golduck here. Water 70 stage 1. We've got Pokemon Power, Chaos Flash. Once during your turn, before you attack, if Golduck is your active Pokemon, you may flip a coin. If heads, the defending Pokemon is now confused. I can't use it if it's affected by a special condition. Then we've got Special Blow, 30 plus, for a water and a psychic energy. If the defending Pokemon has any special energy cards attached to it, this attack does 30 plus 40 more damage.
Yes, and that ties so synergistically to the dark metal, because you can guarantee that there'll be a lot of special energy cards in play.
Yes. Psyduck here. We've got 50 HP basic, water, confusion wave for colorless. Both Psyduck and the defending Pokemon are now confused. So, like, the trick with this is you just have the Psyduck in play, confuse both, and then next turn you just evolve into it and it loses confusion.
Absolutely.
And then just for more synergy with the cube, we put the Delta Species Psyduck in here. So it's an electric type. Scratch for 10 damage for colorless. And then we've got Disable for an electric energy. Choose one of the defending Pokemon's attacks. This Pokemon... that Pokemon can't use it during their next turn. So just shutting off one of their attacks is pretty good. Although, sadly, it's an electric attack off your water deck. So you just have to run more energy in your deck, I guess.
Yep. Or take advantage of those special rainbow energies.
Right. Alright, so we'll move on to Gyarados now. We've got Dark Gyarados. Water Dark Pokemon. We've got Pokemon Body, Dark Scale. If Dark Gyarados is your active Pokemon, is knocked out by an opponent's attack, put 3 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. Sure. And then Sharp Fang, 30 damage for a water colorless. Simple. And then we've got Dark Stake, 40 damage. We've got water, 2 colorless. Flip a coin. If heads, the defending Pokemon's now paralyzed. Pretty simple card. Pretty splashable.
Yep, I would agree. Especially a lot of these decks are going to be running Rainbow Energies. Having a stage 1 that you can splash, not only to help you take advantage of maybe some different resistance or weakness workarounds, but then as well, depending on how you've drafted in the cube, sometimes you just maybe are missing a line, or maybe missing a piece just to kind of tie it all together. I don't think looking at a stage 1 line like Dark Gyarados would be a bad idea.
Okay. Gyarados. This card's really cool. 90 HP, stage 1, water. We've got Dragon Spark, a water energy. This attack does 10 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. Straight up 10 damage to everything? Sure. Full restriction. We got 20 times. So 2 colorless energy does 20 times the number of damage counter on all of your Magikarp. Sure, why not? And then we've got Pulverize, 50 plus. Does for 2 water and 2 colorless. If the defending Pokemon already has at least 2 damage counters on it, this attack does 50 plus 50 more damage. So if they bring up that sniped Pokemon, you're just like, I guess I'll hit that for 100 damage. Why not?
Yes. Very, very threatening presence.
Alright. Gyarados EX. 130 HP, stage 2. We've got Twister for 40 damage for a water colorless. Flip 2 coins. If each of them are heads, choose an energy attached to the defending Pokemon and discard it. If both are tails, this attack does nothing. So a very hit or miss card. And then we've got Dragon Rage for 100 damage for a 2 water energy and 3 colorless energy. I don't know. It seems fine.
Yep. I would say that overall the line is solid. I definitely wouldn't chase it as your primary line, but the fact that it has a very low, most of the Gyaradoses only require 1 to 2 water energies, make it really splashable into other types of decks, seeing that they can take advantage of a very low amount of water energy requirement that could be picked up by other types of special energies.
Alright, we'll go through the Magikarp real quick here. We've got 30 HP basic, water, call for friends for water energies, search your deck for 2 basic Pokemon, put them into your bench. Simple enough. And then the other Magikarp, we've got 30 HP basic water Pokemon, surprise attack, 10 damage for colors, flip a coin, if tails, this attack does nothing. Sure. And then we've got Ascension for a water, and a colorless. Search your deck for a card that evolves from Magikarp and put it on Magikarp. This counts as evolving it. Shuffle your deck afterward. Great. Just evolve into your Gyarados right away. And then it already has 2 energy attached to it. Alright.
Yep.
So we'll move on to Lightning next. We'll do the Pidgeot line here. So this is a supporter Pokemon in my opinion. 100 HP, stage 2. Pokemon power, quick search. Once during your turn, before you attack, you may choose 1 card from your deck, put it into your hand, shuffle your deck afterward. You can't use more than 1 quick search per turn. Can't use it if he's affected by special condition either. Clutch for 40 damage, 2 colorless. The defending Pokemon can't retreat until your opponent's next turn.
But we all know the main reason you're winning this, by far, is definitely quick search.
For sure.
Yes, I think that quick search, even on a stage 2, is such a strong thing to have at your disposal in your bench. It's very, very strong.
I will say the clutch is really good against dragon Pokemon specifically.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Hitting for the 80.
Yep, hitting for 80, making sure that they can't retreat, and just smacking them down again. So
basically, 2-shotting anything weakness with a colorless weakness is getting 2-shotted guaranteed.
For sure, good. All right, and then the Delta species Pidgeot here. Stage 2, 100 HP, is a lightning and a metal Pokemon. Pokebody, Delta reserves. As long as Pidgeot has a Holon energy attached to it, each player's Pokemon, excluding Delta in its card, have no Pokemon powers. So, just shutting off Pokemon powers. Great. And then Rotating Claws, 50 damage. For a lightning, a metal, and a colorless here. You may discard an energy card attached to Pidgeot. If you do, search your discard pile for an energy card and attach it to Pidgeot. So you're just trying to put on other energy cards to it. When I ran this during the pre-draft, I was just trying to attach metal energy to it.
Yep. What a great way to get those special ones back that you typically can't search out with trainers. To kind of just buff up your Pidgeots. So if you were able to, for example, earlier in the game, feel a little more confident about throwing away a special metal energy, knowing that you could trade out a basic lightning energy with Rotating Claws to get that reattached to the Pidgeot and still be able to take advantage of the additional benefits.
I enjoyed playing it. Okay. Pidgeotto. We've got this Pidgeotto from newer generation here, but it's 60 HP, colorless, stage 1, ability Airmail. Once during your turn, before you attack, you may look at the top 2 cards of your deck and put one of them into your hand and put the other on the bottom of the deck. And then we've got Gust for 30 damage for 2 colorless energy. Great card. Nice supporter Pokemon as well.
Yep, exactly.
Lightning Pidgeotto. 70 HP, lightning. Whirlwind, 30 damage, lightning colorless. Your opponent switches the defending Pokemon with one of his or her bench Pokemon. Sure.
Another good old Gust effect.
Yeah, this one is your opponent chooses, but that's still fine.
Mm-hmm.
Pidgey. We've got Messenger. Search your deck for a Pokemon, show it to your opponent, put it in your hand. Shuffle Pidgey and all cards attached to it into your deck. Sure. Just just grab a stage 2. Why not? Or stage 1 that you needed forever.
Yep.
And then we got Glide for a colorless, 10 damage. You're probably using Messenger on this one.
Yep, absolutely. You're probably gonna be able to take a hit, maybe get a Glide off, and right when he's close to that 30 40 HP, when you're maybe fearing him getting knocked out, able to trade him out, erase some of those attacks from early game that your opponent put on you, and end up in a much more advantageous situation where you're building off your bench and you're able to grab that evolution you need to really smack back next turn with a strong powered up Pokemon.
Alright. Lightning Pidgey, 40 HP, Lightning Pokemon. Wing attack, 10 damage, 1 colorless. Just to get to your higher evolution. Moving on to Ampharos. This normal Ampharos, we got 120 HP, Lightning, Stage 2, Pokemon Power Energy Contact. As often as you like, but during your turn, you may move a basic energy card attached to one of your bench Pokemon to your active Pokemon. It can't be used if he's affected by special condition. And then we've got Mysterious Thunder, 50 damage, Lightning, 2 colorless. You may discard all Lightning energy cards attached to Ampharos. If you do, the defending Pokemon's now burned and confused. Great. Sad that you have to discard all your energy, but you're just rotating energy around on your board anyhow. So
Right. Exactly. It's a small price to pay for what it offers. I love that burned and confused combo, or the burned and poison combos you're seeing. The combo special conditions are so much stronger than I think people will give them credit for until it really happens to them. The first time you get hit by one of these combo special conditions, it's going to make you take these cards a lot more seriously in future drafts, because I know that when it happened to me in our practice draft, it definitely really opened my eyes and reminded me on how strong some of those pairings can be.
All right. Ampharos EX here. Stage 2, 150 HP, Lightning, Pokebody, Conductivity. As long as Ampharos EX is in play, whenever an opponent attaches an energy card from to one of oh my goodness, to his or her Pokemon from their hand, put 1 damage counter on that Pokemon. You can't put more than 1 damage card, even if there is one more Ampharos EX in play. That part doesn't really matter because we're only running 1.
Yep.
Gigavolt 40 plus for Lightning and 2 colors. Flip a coin. If heads, this attack does 40 plus 30 more damage. If tails, the defending Pokemon's paralyzed. So it's got the either or. I don't care which one it flips.
Yes, both are really strong. 70 for 3 is still some good damage output. The fact that you're going to hit for 40, sometimes you might think is a detriment, but if you're guaranteed paralysis, you're pretty much getting you're either two-shotting what you're hitting, or or it's going to stay sitting there until you've killed it. So it's a very good trap card.
And just being able to, whenever your opponent attaches an energy, just deal a damage to it. Sure.
Exactly. Yep.
Alright, so we got Dark Ampharos here. 120 HP, Stage 2. Pokebody, Darkness Impulse. As long as Dark Ampharos is in play, whenever your opponent plays an evolution card from his or her hand to evolve one of his or her Pokemon, place 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. Just another way to damage accumulate on your opponent's Pokemon. Ram for 30 damage for 2 colorless energy, simple. And then Shock Volt, 70 damage for a Lightning and 2 colorless. Discard all Lightning energy cards attached to Dark Ampharos. Okay, sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So especially if you are running maybe special darks, you're going to be hitting for 90, and all you have to do is attach an electric energy each turn.
Great. Super good.
Very strong.
Okay, so we'll move on to Dark Flaffy here. 80 HP, stage 1. Thunder Slash, 10 damage for colorless. The defending Pokemon is a basic Pokemon. The defending Pokemon is now paralyzed. And it can't... Dark Flaffy can't use Thunder Slash during your next turn. And then we've got Headbutt for a lightning and a colorless for 20 damage. Good.
Yep.
Flaffy Delta, just for the Delta, basically. 70 HP, stage 1. We got Thunder Shock for 20 damage for 2 colorless. Flip a coin. If heads, the defending Pokemon is now paralyzed. Great. Mareep. The basic, we got 60 HP, lightning. No cost. Minor Errand running. Search your deck for a basic energy card. Show it to your opponent. Put it into your hand. Shuffle your deck afterwards. Sure. Great. And then expand. 10 damage for lightning. Defending Pokemon. During your opponent's next turn, any damage done to Mareep is reduced by 10. Sure. You're probably generally running it for the minor Errand running, though.
Yes, absolutely. I think another really cool thing that a lot of people don't think about, especially early game, is the importance of getting a proper setup. Minor Errand running not only helps you from being basically stalled for energy cards, but by pulling an extra energy card out of your pool, it actually does, in a small way, increase the odds that your next card will be maybe that trainer or that evolution Pokemon you're looking for, and that you may not draw into that lightning energy otherwise.
All right. Mareep Delta, 40 HP, colorless, tail whip, 10 damage. Sure. Easy enough. All right, we'll talk about these Holon cards real quick. So
yeah, let's do it.
Holon's Electrode. We don't have any of the Holland's Voltorb, so we're only running it for the bottom effect. What that bottom effect essentially says, it's a double rainbow energy, but when you attach it to your Pokemon, you have to return is it an energy or is it basic energy?
You may attach to this as an energy card from your hand to one of your Pokemon that already has an energy card attached. When you attach the card, return the energy card attached to that Pokemon back to your hand. While attached, this card is a special energy card and provides 2 of every type of energy, but only 2 energy at a time.
Simple enough. So I was talking with someone and they're like, energy acceleration, and I'm like, it's not energy acceleration, it's advantage. So it's card advantage for yourself. So if you're not running enough energy cards, you can instead like throw this in, and then you're essentially getting 2 energy cards for the price of 1. Kind of. You're getting 3 energy for 2 energy cards.
Right, absolutely. And then one really nice thing to consider too is that they are rainbow energy. So how we talked earlier about how some of these stage 1s can really be a great splash, or even how those rainbow energies can help power up certain Pokemon that are going to require like 4 or 5 things attached. I think they're a very powerful tool to have in this cube.
So off of that one, we'll go to Magneton over here. Same thing, except for it's a metal Pokemon, which is actually relevant in here. So being able to search it out with some other cards. And then Cast Form is the same thing, except for this one's a basic, and you might actually use its attack when you put it into play. Count the number of Pokemon you have in play that have Delta in its card and draw that many cards. Sure. I'll draw 6.
Yes, absolutely.
Alright, so that's all the Holon Pokemon. We'll move to Psychic Pokemon next. Gardevoir. You want to go through the Gardevoir line here for me?
Yeah, of course. I'd love to. So let's take a look at this very first Gardevoir. It's got a very powerful Pokemon power of Psy Shadow. Once during your turn, you're going to be searching your deck for Psychic Energy and attaching it to any of your Pokemon. You are going to put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon, but you do have to remember that that is a small price to pay for huge acceleration, considering it combos so nicely with Gardevoir's Energy Burst, which is going to do 10 damage times the total number of energy attached to Gardevoir and the defending Pokemon. So it doesn't sound like a lot, but you can quickly see as you are accelerating onto Gardevoir, as well as your opponent is building up their powerful EXs. This can combo into quite a significant amount of damage. This Gardevoir was actually essential and included in one of the World Championship decks from this era, and saw a very, very good tournament success. And this type of energy burst has become a staple of the Gardevoir line, even into the future in other iterations. Taking a look here, we'll look at the other Gardevoir. We're going to look at the Delta one. This is one that I actually have some experience with in our practice draft playing with it. I can say that I loved the card. I thought the card was very effective, and the card was quite versatile in what it can do. So let's talk about that. Firstly, you're going to be able to move your energy cards once per turn from one Pokemon to another Pokemon. You would not believe how powerful of an ability that is to help you get around certain situations, scenarios, and things your opponent's going to throw at you, whether it's getting that final energy card to be ready to attack, getting that energy card to be able to retreat, or even going all the way around and changing. So for example, if let's say that card really needs a specific type of energy and you don't have it, but you know you're going to have it in a future turn, you can attach the wrong energy to one of your Pokemon to still not burn your turn and keep up with that energy curve. So then later, you're able to then switch that onto the correct Pokemon. So I could attach a Steel Energy to a Dark Pokemon that didn't need it. Later, move that Steel Energy back to a Steel Pokemon that needed it. So very, very underutilized effect. I think that Energy Jump is very powerful. Psychic Rage is going to do 10 damage for each damage counter on Gardevoir to that Pokemon. This is going to be a very late tempo kind of threat. Your opponent's going to have to really consider if they are not able to two-shot you, maybe reassessing their strategy, because the last thing you want to do is have a Gardevoir sitting there with 70 to 90 HP, because it's going to really wreak havoc on your board. The other thing, Black Magic is going to do 10 damage plus 20 more times the number of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So it's just another kind of limiting factor. Psychic Rage and Black Magic both ask your opponent to assess their board state, and what they're doing before they attack you. It's a very powerful threat and non-EX. Now the EX is actually tried and true. It was just reprinted actually in Celebrations, and it is definitely a staple card from the era in Dragon Frontiers, and did have tournament success, not only on a national level, but the Gardevoir EX was actually featured in my tournament deck, believe it or not. This would have been in the late 2000s. I ran it with Salamence EX, and there was a Delta Latios and a Delta Latios EX that comboed very nicely. It's going to have 2 abilities right away. Imprison. If Gardevoir EX is your active Pokemon, you may put an Imprison marker on one of your opponent's Pokemon. Now, Imprison markers were kind of used in the Delta block, and they weren't really re-explored in the trading card game. Essentially, it's just another way of saying a token or an indication. Now, what the Imprison markers did were Pokemon specific. So, for example, Tyranitar EX Delta had a different Imprison ability than Gardevoir. Gardevoir's is that if you place an Imprison marker on a Pokemon, it cannot use any Pokepowers or Pokebody. So, very great and effective at shutting down a strong ability. And Flame Ball is just going to be a solid move that really works well with Energy Jump. You're going to move a Fire Energy card attached to Gardevoir EX to one of your bench Pokemon. What's really nice is a combo that I did to get around not being able to use Flame Ball every turn is I would Energy Jump at the start of my turn then and move that Fire Energy back from one of my bench Pokemon that I moved it to back to the Gardevoir. So I was able to just keep mounting that Fire Energy around my board to ensure that I was doing constant DPS. So very strong top line for Gardevoir. We're going to go into the Curlies now. There's 2 different types. The first one is going to be a psychic one that was printed in Pop 7, so still in the era, a little bit later. Obviously, this was pushing closer to the Diamond Pearl Platinum era. You're going to look and see 80 HP, which I think is very strong for a stage 1. Psychic Research is going to allow you to search your discard pile for a supporter card and use the effect as the attack. Now, this is going to be situational. Sometimes you're going to want DPS on a stage 1, but early game, that's going to be incredibly strong, especially when you haven't gone through much of your deck. Maybe you have a supporter card or two in there, or maybe if you're running a low quantity of a specific supporter card, this is going to be another way to access that. Telekinesis as well is going to use double colorless and a psychic energy to choose one of your opponent's Pokemon, and this is just another snipe effect. You see that in a lot of the different color lines, and it's here too. So just something to keep in mind as you're building your deck and your archetype is that almost every color has a way to kind of get around active and start affecting bench. Use that to your advantage, and definitely when you're deck building, just remember that that's out there too. So you're going to want to be cautious on how you set up your bench, just knowing that a lot of the different lines in this cube are going to be able to get around your active and start to affect your bench. Keeping up with the line, we also have Delta Species Curlia. This is going to be a 70 HP stage 1. It's actually pretty standard. You're looking at a two energy attack here for the Flickering Flames. You're going to deal 20 damage. Guaranteed Asleep is very strong, though. I think that really accelerates this from an okay card to a good card. I can see people honestly going to probably lean using Flickering Flames over Smack. Maybe Smack being used if it's going to put your opponent in kill range or clean up a knockout. Another nice thing with the fire typing is that the steel cards are going to get hit with double, so you could be looking at a potential 80 for 3 with Smack. Getting into Ralts, then you have two different types of Ralts again here. We have a Ralt that was from the Platinum set. You're going to be able to have a 60 HP on a basic, which is pretty high for a basic, so I already think it's a great lead card. Future Sight's going to allow you to Pokedex and look at the top 5 cards in either player's deck and put them back. So if you've got a great hand and you don't really need to modify because you know your game plan, you can potentially really alter your opponent's next 5 turns. Vice versa, you can really get yourself into a more advanced position by using it yourself. Hypnoblast is going to do 10 damage. You can flip for a sleep. I think you're going to be using that a lot more for Future Sight just to help set up or detract. And then keeping up with the lines, we have the Delta Species Ralts. He's got 50 HP. Calm Mind's going to remove 2 damage counters, which is going to be strong early game. When you're maybe using Ralts as a setup or a stall card, as you're starting to build each other's boards. Pokemon that are going to peck you for 10 damage, they might take a couple turns to do so, and you're able to mitigate that with 1 energy card. As well, Will-o-the-Wisp is 20. It's just going to do 2. I think this is another fine addition to the Ralts line. And then we are looking at Dark Hypno is going to be the other psychic contender for this cube. Before we move on to Dark Hypno, Joe, did you have any thoughts, concerns, anything that you would want to bring up on your Gardevoir line? I think you did a great job diversifying the line and adding fun cards that really make this an attractive line to draft.
Right. I definitely would not mind drafting it whatsoever. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I feel the exact same way. I saw some results with it and I had a lot of fun with it. So let's look at Dark Hypno. Dark Hypno is one of the by far the most interesting cards in this entire cube. Really love the addition of this one. Dark Hypno says 70 HP. Is going to be stage 1, and what we're going to be really looking at is that Dark Link. Flip a coin. If heads, choose an attack on one of your Pokemon in play that has Dark in its name, excluding this one. Dark Link will copy that attack, except for its energy cost. You still must do anything else required for that attack. So for having a stage 1 that's able to mimic some of your EXs, mimic some of your strong Dart type Pokemon, and use some of their most powerful attacks as a proxy, and only take 1 prize card, puts you in a very powerful advantage position. Also, Black Magic is going to come in and do 20 times the number of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So situationally, that could be doing up to 100 damage for 2 energies. I think this is a very powerful Pokemon. If it was not Flip a Coin, I think this would be probably one of the most broken cards in the entire cube. What are your thoughts, Joe, on the Dark Hypno?
I saw it and I was like, that's really good. Just flip a coin. If heads, big damage.
Yes, you are able to serve as a proxy, and it's perfect. You can leave a fully powered up EX back on your bench. You can make your opponent have to whittle down a Dark Hypno, which still has a decent amount of HP, and that HP can be buffed with some of the trainer cards. What's really nice about that too is, like we talked about, only taking one prize card, so it really gives you access to much more powerful tools than what a stage 1 Pokemon should have. The Drowsies in the cube, looks like we got 2 different ones, and they're just going to get us there. First one, it's just going to be a pretty standard 50 HP. What's nice about this one is its disable ability. It's going to choose one of your defending Pokemon attacks. That Pokemon can't use that attack during their next turn. So what's really nice about that is, for example, if you have something on your bench that's about to get sniped out from a bench snipe move, you can send up Drowsy and delay that, and make them reconsider their options, as well as maybe they only have one attack that deals damage and another attack is more of a setup attack. You can start to stall out their Pokemon and maybe make them have to switch or retreat. Drowsy from Heart Gold Soul Silver, surfing, by the way, which is a pretty uncharacteristic. I don't remember that in the Pokedex entry. Has 60 HP. He's going to go ahead and use a really cool gust effect where he's not only going to switch defending Pokemon with a bench Pokemon, but then that Pokemon's now asleep. So this is even stronger than like a Gust of Wind card. As well, he's going to be able to do a Gentle Slap for 20, but I think Sleep Inducer is going to be the main draw of the Drowsy line.
And then you got one more Hypno here.
Oh, I did miss that one. I was so excited about the Dark Hypno.
So,
yeah.
70 HP, Psychic, Stage 1, Pokemon Body, Blinding Aura. Your opponent can't play any basic Pokemon or evolution cards from his or her hand to evolve his or her active, and can't attach any energy from his or her hand to an asleep Pokemon. Oh my goodness. Again, Sleep Inducer, colorless. Switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with one of the defending Pokemon. Your opponent chooses a defending Pokemon. That doesn't matter. The defending Pokemon's now asleep. Then Side Shot, 40 damage, Psychic, and a colorless. Super fun card.
Yeah, absolutely.
Alright, moving on to fighting types. So the fighting type was very interesting because there were no EXs for the fighting type. So they're split between both dark and metal, and I think that's a super fun way to do it anyhow.
Absolutely. Both archetypes can still take advantage of the fighting typing to help with weaknesses and resistances in their deck.
Alright, so we'll go through Sandslash here. Dark Sandslash. We've got Stage 1, 70 HP, Pokemon Body, Poison, Payback. If Dark Sandslash is your active Pokemon, damaged by an opponent's attack, even if it's knocked out, the defending Pokemon's not poisoned. Great. Swift, 50 damage, 3 colorless, isn't affected by weakness, resistance, powers, bodies, or any other effects. Simple card, enjoyable. I like it.
Yep.
We got Metal Sandslash here. Fighting metal. Pokemon Body, Delta Storm. As long as Sandslash is active Pokemon, put 1 damage counter on each of your opponent's Pokemon EX between turns. Sure, why not? Just hit all of them. And then we got Ren for a fighting and a colorless, 20 plus. If the defending Pokemon already has damage counters on it, this attack does 20 more damage. And then we've got Slash for a metal energy, 2 colors, 50 damage. Sure.
Yep. Absolutely. Just a pretty solid, honest card.
Sandshrew, 60 HP, Sand attack for a fighting energy. The defending Pokemon tries to attack during your opponent's next turn. Your opponent flips a coin. If tails, this attack does nothing. Ram, 30 damage for fighting and a colorless. Simple, just stalling out your opponent a little bit there.
Yep, absolutely.
Other Sandshrew, we got 50 HP, basic, Poison Needle, 10 damage, Fighting Energy, flip a coin if has the defending Pokemon's not poisoned. Sure, why not? Moving right along to Marowak. Dark Marowak. It's fighting Dark, 70 HP, stage 1. Brick Smash, 30 damage, 2 colorless. This attack damage isn't affected by weakness resistance or anything else. Hard Bone, 70 damage for a fighting colorless. Discard a basic Pokemon or an evolution card from your hand, or this attack does nothing. Sure.
Yep, I think that's going to be an ability that you're not using every turn. But what's nice is it can set up a situation where you're doing 70 for 3, which I think is very good DPS for the requested amount of energy. So I think that's very situational, but you're really going to be looking at this for Brick Smash. I think that the ability to get through whatever your opponent might be stonewalling you with is huge.
Alright, so Marowak Delta, Fighting Metal, stage 1, 80 HP on this one. Energy Bone for a metal and a fighting. Choose a number of your opponent's Pokemon up to the amount of energy attached to Marowak. This attack does 20 damage to each of them. Sure. And then we've got Metal Crusher, 50 damage for a fighting, 2 colors. Defending Pokemon. If the defending Pokemon is a metal Pokemon, this attack's base is 90 damage. So big damage against other metal Pokemon.
Yep, absolutely.
So good. Alright. Cubone. 50 HP basic. Fighting. So we got look for friends for colors. Reveal cards from the top of... Oh my goodness. Reveal cards from your deck until you reveal a basic Pokemon. Show that card to your opponent. Put it into your hand. Shuffle the other cards revealed back into your deck. Boomerang. 10 damage. Flip 2 coins. Oh, sorry. For fighting, flip 2 coins. This attack does 10. Times the number of heads. Sure. Easy enough.
Yep.
You're probably using it for the look for friends attack.
Yep. Great setup.
Other Cubone, we got 40 HP fighting basic. Pokemon Body, Lonely Bone. Any damage done to Cubone from your opponent's attacks is reduced by 20 for each Marowak in your discard pile. Bone Rush, 20 damage for 2 colors. Flip a coin until you get tails. This attack does 20 times the number of heads. Jeez. Okay, simple enough.
Yep, I like the idea of using Hardbone to discard all your other Marowaks, so then setting up your Cubone that takes 60 less damage.
Actually, that's not a bad plan.
It's maybe not the best strategy,
No,
but I can see it being hilarious.
Yeah, for sure. Alright, you want to go through Dragonite here for me?
Yeah, of course. I'd love to take a look at Dragonite. So Dragonite is a very versatile line in this cube. One thing you're going to see about Dragonite is there is quite a few different ways that you can spec into Dragonite. We are looking at 3 different types of Dragonite. The first one is going to be Dark Dragonite. Dark Dragonite has a solid 120 HP as a stage 2. With its Dark Trance ability, you're going to be able to move darkness energy attached from one of your Pokemon to another one of your Pokemon. So kind of like that energy jump we saw from Gardevoir, just restricted to Dark. That double wing attack is going to do 30 damage to the defending Pokemon, and you're just going to be able to do a solid 50 damage with the Claw Swipe. Remembering that you can take advantage of those darkness energies as well as different trainers, this can be a very powerful Pokemon, definitely one to watch out for. And the fact that you can move around your darkness energy is just going to help in the event where Dark Dragonite maybe is close to KO, that you maybe are able to move one of the Dark Energies, retreat with the other two, and get your next attacker ready to go. So I think that is a very, very great choice. Definitely something you could consider building a deck around. The second one you could look at is going to be the Delta species. So the same way that we saw dark representation and metal representation in the fighting, we see that with our Dragonite here. So this Delta Dragonite is electric and steel. Its Delta charge ability is going to let you attach a lightning energy from your discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon. And what's nice is it's not restricted to Dragonite. So if Dragonite's already powered up, that is A-OK. You can start working on your bench. Excuse me, and getting other cards ready to go. The agility is going to do 30 damage. As you've seen on some of the other cards in this cube, you're going to be able to flip a coin. If heads, you're going to just stall out, and you're not going to take any damage, effects of attack, anything like that on your next turn. And you've just got an honest 70 damage with that heavy impact. Now, one thing to note, this Dragonite only has 100 HP versus 120. But assuming you're running those special metal energies, it's going to be able to take advantage of the additional HP bonus. So if you were to have 2 or 3, you are going to be looking at potentially up to 130 HP. Definitely not a card to be reckoned with. The EX is from EX Dragon, one of the first EX sets, and it has 150 HP. It's got a cool ability to call for power, and as often as you like, you can move energies attached from one of your Pokemon to Dragonite EX. So in the opposite way of our former Dragonites, this one is actually charging up for his Kamehameha. He has a Dragon Wave ability that can do up to 70 damage for a Water Energy and a Lightning Energy card. You're just going to discard those and hit with a quick 70. But Giant Tail is a very attractive but risky attack. You're going to flip a coin. If tails, the attack will whiff. In most situations, though, this is another card that you could look at for a 2-shot. This could potentially come in very clutch on a little bit of lucky coin flips there. And with its grass and fighting resistance, the multiple resistances really help this card become a behemoth to take down. Seeing that we had all those Dragonites, we have some Dragonairs to support them. Joe selected 2 for this cube. We have the Evolutionary Light Dragonite, which is the Dark Dragonite here. Once you're in your turn, if Dark Dragonite is your active Pokemon, search your deck for an evolution card, put it in your hand. So this is a callback to the original Team Rocket set, the fourth set of the Pokemon trading card game, where Dark Dragonair had a similar Evolutionary Light ability. Dragon Rage is just going to be a solid 30 damage. Not so good for the attack, although the water and the lightning would set up very nice into the EX or the future cards. So I'd say it's pretty solid. That Evolutionary Light is going to be very powerful in ensuring you get your Dragonite out as soon as possible. Your Delta Dragonair is electric type. It takes advantage of some of those very good resistances, and is going to have Twister. So you're going to flip 2 coins. If both are tails, the attack is going to do nothing. Statistically, that's only going to happen about 25% of the time, so you should be hitting this one pretty good. For each heads, you are going to discard a card in energy, though, attached to the defending Pokemon. So energy removal is super powerful. Anything you can do to improve your tempo and get energy curve advantage over your opponent is going to make the game a lot harder for them to play catch-up. So very powerful card there.
There's a second Dragonair there.
Is there another? Oh, there's 2 Delta ones, huh?
Yep.
Okay. Good. Thank you for pointing that out. We actually have a different Delta one. I didn't even notice that. So that's actually really cool. I really love the artwork of this one here.
It's so pretty.
It is very pretty. I can see a very nice print of this. Dragonair has 70 HP. Now, let's see the difference between the two. So this one is just going to have an Honest Slam. It's going to flip 2 coins again, but this time it's going to do 20 times the number of heads. So most times than not, it's going to be doing 20 damage. Sometimes it's going to hit for 40. Sometimes it's going to whiff. Dragon Rage is going to do a solid 40 damage. The benefits of this card, though, is that although the damage output isn't too high, it is still building energies to get into that Dragonite. And I'd say the biggest reason you would want to run this one is for its low retreat cost and its powerful resistance to grass and to fighting. So I think another great option for your deck. And then it looks like we are running 3 different Dratinis. So we have a colorless Dratini. Dratini is going to be able to come in strong with its Dragon Song and right away put your defending Pokemon to sleep. Early game, this is going to be very, very powerful if they're not able to evolve right away, as it can get them trapped into a basic Pokemon that hopefully you're powering up to knock out. Its Tail Strike is going to take advantage of that Water Lightning early, so that way you have that built into the line, so then future attacks are going to be easier as you already have that energy pairing. You're going to flip a coin, and if heads, you can do up to 30 damage for 2 energies, which is very good tempo, but I think that this one, it's kind of game winner. Its home run is definitely the Dragon Song ability. Looking at the first Delta one, it's another solid 50 HP, and you're going to flip a coin with its Thunder Wave. We've seen this type of card in the past quite a bit, still taking advantage of that nice resistance, and is going to cause paralysis about 50% of the time, which is just another thing that's going to gain you great tempo. And the final one is going to have a little bit more DPS focus. You're looking at Hook for 10, and you're just going to do a solid 30 damage on the Thunder Jolt. Kind of like Pichu, you might accidentally give yourself a little bit of electric damage there, but not to worry, you're only taking 10 damage 50% of the time. So yeah, I think the Dratini sets up to a really solid Dragonair line, but the Dragonites really steal the show, and are definitely one of the centerpieces of the cube.
All right. So we got Tyranitar next. We'll do the first Dark Tyranitar here. 120 HP, stage 2, grind for 10 plus with a colorless. Does 10 plus 10 more for each energy attached to Dark Tyranitar. Great. I saw this work very well during the pre-draft. It was great. Spinning Tail for Dark and 2 colorless does 20 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. Just 20 damage across the board. Great. Bite Off, 70 plus for 2 dark, 3 colorless. If the defending Pokemon is a Pokemon EX, this attack does 70 plus 50 more damage. Just kill that EX.
This is a very strong card considering the fact that you can run up to 4 special dark energies. Although it's slow to power up, once this thing is power up, this is going to have one-shot potential on almost any single Pokemon in the entire cube. Bite Off has the potential to not only do 70 damage, but with an additional 4 darkness special energies, you would be looking at 110 damage. With an EX, it's going to hit for 160, which should be able to one-shot any Pokemon in the entire cube. I think this is a very fun card, and definitely one to be scared of if you see it building up on the bench.
For sure. We'll move into the second Dark Tyranitar, the fighting one. So we got Fighting Dark, stage 2, 120 again. Pokebody, sand damage, as long as Dark Tyranitar is your active Pokemon. Put 1 damage counter on each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Bench basic Pokemon between turns. You can't use more than 1 sand damage between turns. And then we got Second Strike, 50 plus for a fighting and 2 colorless. If the defending Pokemon already has at least 2 damage counters on it, this attack does 50 plus 20 more damage. So it sets itself up, or the other one also sets this one up very nicely. And we'll move on to Tyranitar EX. 160 HP. We've got Shatter for 30 damage for a fighting energy. Discard a Stadium in play. That is really good.
Insanely good.
Just random destruction of stadiums is excellent. We've got Derail for 30 damage for 2 colors. Discard a special energy card. If any, attached to the defending Pokemon. Just simple, nice. Mix Up for 70 damage for a fighting dark colorless. Your opponent discards the top card of his or her deck. Sure. And then Big Daddy here, we got Losing Control for 120 damage for a fighting, 2 dark, and a colorless. Discard the top 3 cards of your deck. You do not care. Takes 4 turns to power up, but you're probably hitting for 150 damage with 3 darkness energies.
Yes, this is another one. If you're seeing a trend in the Tyranitar line, they're definitely not one that you maybe want to lead with. But the second you start to get that energy curve up and start to power these things up, they can get really out of control really quickly. Especially the EX with 160 HP, this thing can definitely take a walloping before it's getting knocked out.
Alright, move quickly here through the Dark Pupitar. Is a Fighting Dark, 70 stage 1. 1 colorless explosive evolution. Flip a coin. If heads, this attack does 10 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. That'll set up the other Pokemon, other Tyranitars later in the line. And then search your deck for a card that evolves from Dark Pupitar and put it on Dark Pupitar. So that'll be any of the Tyranitars there. Double Tackle. Fighting colorless does 20 damage to each of the defending Pokemon. So you're just looking at 20 damage to defending Pokemon.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Just evolving to your Tyranitar right away. And then we got Larvitar. We got a couple different ones here. 50 HP basic, retaliate 10 damage for fighting. 10 damage times the number of damage counters on Larvitar. So you're looking at maybe 40. And then we've got Tackle for 20 damage for 2 colorless. Simple card. Then we'll get into Larvitar for 40 HP, fighting basic. Sand attack 10 damage with a fighting energy. If the defending Pokemon tries to attack during your opponent's next turn, they flip a coin. If tails, that attack does nothing. So yeah, these are just simple Larvitars, hoping to get into your Big Daddy Tyranitar.
Big Daddy T-Tar.
Moving right along, we got Mightyena here. 70 HP, stage 1. Seek out for a colorless. Search your deck for a card, put it in your hand, shuffle your deck afterward. Do not underestimate these being able to search out any card in your deck. It's so good, even if it's an attack. Pull away, 30 damage for 2 colorless. If your opponent has 5 or more cards in his or her hand, your opponent discards until they have 4 cards. Again, that's really good. Does 30 damage. Getting card advantage away from them. Great card. Easily splashable.
Yep, I would agree.
Mightyena EX. We've got 100 HP. Stage 1. Poke Power, Diving Howl. Once during your turn, you may choose the defending switch it with their bench. So it's just another gust effect. Sharp Fang, 30 damage, 2 colorless, sure. And then Hyper Claw, 50 plus for a dark and 2 colorless. If the defending Pokemon is a stage 2 evolved Pokemon, this attack does 50 plus 20 more damage. So looking for big damage on the stage 2 lines, which there are a bunch of in this cube.
Yep, absolutely. And if you notice, it strategically does 90 damage. Now, considering that you might be using a special dark, you could be looking at 100 damage. And one thing you found in this cube is that most of the stage 2s that are non-EX are only looking at about an average of about 100 to 120 HP. So it's very possible you could set this up to just start sniping out and one-shotting Pokemon, which is very, very strong, because typically most people aren't set up very quickly to start one-shotting stage 2s. But with Mightyena EX, it is a stage 1 that only requires 3 energies to potentially be doing up to 120 damage.
Again, easily splashable. So nice.
Yep.
Nice support Pokemon there again. Mightyena Delta. 70 HP Dark Metal Pokemon. Delta Fang, 20 damage for a dark and a colorless. If the defending Pokemon is a Pokemon EX, it can't attack during your opponent's next turn. Great.
Yes, threat eliminated.
And then we got Gang Up, 10 times for a metal and a colorless. Does 10 times the number of darkness Pokemon and metal Pokemon you have in play. So this will be like most of the cards in the cube are dark or metal Pokemon, so he splashes wherever you want him to splash.
Yes. Very good card.
Alright, moving on to Poochyena here. We have two different ones. First one, 50 HP, basic dark, roar for colorless. Your opponent switches the defending Pokemon with one of his or her bench. So another gust effect. Ambush 10 plus for a darkness and a colorless. Flip a coin. If heads, this attack does 10 plus 20 more damage. Sure, simple. You're probably using the gust effect.
Yep.
Other Poochyena, 50 HP, darkness Pokemon. Surprise for a colorless. Choose one card from your opponent's hand without looking. Look at that card, and then your opponent shuffles into his or her deck. Don't underestimate random cards from your opponent's hand.
Yes. You could throw away the EX that they really needed.
Yep. Sharp Fang, 20 damage for a dark and a colorless. Simple, easy, enjoyable.
MasterCard.
Yep, exactly. You want to go through Metagross here?
Yeah, sure thing. Let's take a look at Metagross. I fought Metagross. He is a very scary boy. This first Metagross is Psychic typing. He has 100 HP, which is formidable. Super Connectivity is going to allow him to search your discard pile for a Psychic or Metal Energy and just attach it right to your active Pokemon. That Pokemon is going to take 1 damage counter, but as we talked about in the past, anything that's going to be energy acceleration and help you get ahead of the energy curve is going to be worth that damage counter. So definitely a super strong Pokemon power. Leaking Blast is also really interesting. If Metagross and defending Pokemon have different amounts of energy, the attack only does 40 damage instead of 70. But what's really fun about that is by using that super connectivity, you can modify the amount of energies on your Metagross to make sure that you're getting the most effect out of the Link Blast. So pretty cool card there. The second Metagross that we're looking at is going to be a Delta species. It is both a dual species. It's both Psychic and Metal typing. So it's going to be able to take advantage of the Metal type card abilities. As often as during your turn, you may move a Metal Energy card attached to one of your bench Pokemon to your active Pokemon. So once again, another way to move around those energies to set you up in a proper situation. His squared attack is going to do 4 coins of damage. It's going to do whopping 30 times the number of heads. So on average, you're going to hit about 2. So you should be looking at about a guaranteed 2-hit kill on most of the cube. Although this does have the potential for 1-hit knockouts, depending on how you roll your luck. My favorite of the Metagrosses, though, by far, is the Metagross EX. Super strong card, definitely something to look out for with a whopping 150 HP. Its magnetic redraw is going to allow Metagross EX to use the power as long as he's in the active position. Each player will then shuffle their hands into their deck and then draw 4 cards. This can be such a huge disrupt if you just watch your opponent have a very strong turn, build up a hand and a mitt full of cards and a smile on their face. You can shuffle that all away, especially if they've used search cards or other things to specifically set up their next turn. Scan Blast is going to use 3 energy cards to do 70 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon that has the same name as the defending Pokemon. That can get really scary quickly. So for example, if your opponent's forced into a situation where they're not set up yet and they have a couple Ralts on the bench and you hit their Ralts, you could potentially be getting multiple 1, 2, 3, even potentially 4 knockouts on 1 hit. 70 damage even on 1 Pokemon is a very formidable hit, and for 3 energy I think it's more than fair. So you're going to want to watch out, and if you're running Metagross EX, maybe consider running some switch cards or paying attention to the things that will help you beef him up and scoop him up or get him away when the time comes with that whopping 4 retreat cost. Also pay attention to it does have 2 weaknesses, fire being a very prevalent one with some cards, as discussed prior, like Magcargo that can threaten a one-hit knockout. But overall, very, very, very strong card. Very good disruption with its powers. That brings us into the Metangs. We have two different types of them in this cube. The first one is a steel one, and it has a very cool ability that protects it from special conditions. So, sorry, Crobat, your poison, burn, confuse, and all your other junk don't work here. Extra Comet Punch is going to do 30 damage. It also combos into itself. So on the next turn, just like Scyther from Jungle, it's going to power up its punch and it's going to hit for 60 next turn. So you're looking at 90 and 2 shots that can really compete with most of the other stage 1s in the game. And really start to threaten stage 2s. The psychic one is going to have 80 HP, which is pretty high for a stage 1. We're going to be looking at flipping a coin for 20 damage of heads. You're going to cause that paralysis, which can bring you some turn tempo. And Metal Ball is just going to put 5 damage counters on the defending Pokemon. Now, if you notice it's worded like that, it does not do 50 damage. No, it puts 5 damage counters. This will help it get around any effects, special energy cards, anything like that that the defending Pokemon might have. Try and true 5 damage counters. Very strong move. And we've got a couple Beldums to help support. We have a Steel Beldum with the Metal Chain ability. With his 50 HP, he's going to be able to activate the Metal Chain when you attach a metal energy card from your hand to him. You can search your deck then for another Beldum and put it onto your bench. So he kind of multiplies and helps you get those set up. Takedown is going to do a solid 30 damage. He'll do 10 to himself. But if you do have a special metal energy card, you're actually going to do 0 to yourself, which is really beneficial to get around that and shouldn't be too hard to do, which makes it a very, very strong starting Pokemon for the Metagross line. The other Beldum is a psychic one that has that familiar call for family that's going to allow you to search for basic Pokemon. Metal Ball is going to put 1 damage counter on the defending Pokemon, but the reason you're running this for sure is going to be to use that call for family ability to get your board set up. I think overall the Metagross line is definitely not one to be slept on and can create some very powerful synergies in this cube.
All right, so we'll move into Steelix next. I enjoy the Metagross for sure.
Yeah,
he very good.
Very good.
All right, so we'll move into Dark Steelix here. 100 HP, stage 1, great. So we got Energy Link for 20 damage for 2 colors. Search your discard pile for an energy card and attach it to Dark Steelix. And then we'll go over Heavy Impact here, 60 damage for a fighting and 3 colorless. So, let's talk about Energy Link real quick. The way we're playing it in the cube is we're reading it from top to bottom. So if you search your deck, or if you search your discard pile for a Darkness Energy, which implies it deals more damage, it's going to deal the damage first, and then search out the energy card.
Yes.
So you're not going to get a buff from it. And I don't feel bad for that.
But you can look at it as a benefit too, though, that if you are pulling a steel energy, you're going to be able to get that damage out, but still then make it harder on your opponent's next turn to retaliate damage back.
Yep.
So still a very, very powerful card.
All right, we'll move into regular Steelix here. 100 HP, metal. Rage 10 plus for a fighting, 2 colorless, does 10 damage plus 10 more damage for each damage counter on him. And then we've got Spinning Tail for 2 metal and 2 colorless. This attack does 20 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. So just a nice flat 20 to everything. Definitely a decent card.
Yep, absolutely.
Big Daddy Steelix EX here.
Big Daddy.
150 HP, stage 1. Pokebody, poison resistant. He can't be poisoned, sure. Metal Charge, 70 damage for a metal and 2 colors. Put 1 damage counter on Steelix. So you're still taking the 1, or you're still putting the 1 damage counter on it, even if it's got a special metal energy attached to it.
Yep. That verbiage is very important.
Mudslide for 2 fighting, 2 colorless. Discard 2 fighting energy attached to Steel EX. Choose one of your opponent's Pokemon. This attack does 100 damage to that Pokemon. So you just straight up snipe something for 100 damage at the discarding of 2 fighting energy.
That could be completely just game breaking for someone who is maybe hoping to stall you out with their active while they're building up their EX on the bench, and you could kill many of turns. Just think about getting an early kill on a Tyranitar with 3 energies on it already. That would be devastating. And with a huge hit of 100, it really tests their game plan. Even if it doesn't get the knockout that you're needing, it definitely puts him in a position to be knocked out.
This definitely feels like a Crobat killer, you know?
Yes.
Can't be poisoned. It has a resistance of 30 against grass Pokemon.
Just make sure you bring a wagon or something, because you're not going to be able to drag that Steelix EX out of the active spot.
Right. Exactly. Alright, we'll move on to Onix's here. We've got 90 HP basic, which is the highest HP for a basic in the cube.
That's unexpected.
Oh boy. So for 1 colorless, we've got Harden. During your opponent's next turn, if he would be damaged by an attack, prevent that damage if it's 40 HP or less, or 40 or less. And then we've got Bind for 30 damage for a fighting, and 2 colorless. Flip a coin if heads. The defending Pokemon's now paralyzed. Again, paralysis on 50%. Still super good.
Absolutely.
Alright, and then we've got the second Onix. We got that Bind again. 10 damage for 2 colorless. Flip a coin. If heads, they're paralyzed. Rage, 10 plus for fighting, and 2 colorless. 10 damage plus 10 more damage for each damage counter on him. With 80 HP, that seems fine.
Absolutely. It's another one of those cards we talked about like earlier where they don't want to 3-shot your Onix. They really want to get in a position where they can 2-shot it, because anything over that 40 HP is going to start to be very scary when he's going to be in range to hit from anywhere from 60 damage up to all the way into looking at 90 damage. Or I'm sorry, 80 damage. And then considering that steel energies as well are going to delay some of that, you could really put him in a position to start swinging for quite a bit of DPS for 1 basic.
Yep. All right. We'll let you go through Wigglytuff and Delcatty here for me.
Sure. I'd be happy to. Let's take a look at the colorless Pokemon, the Dragon Slayers, if you will. Wigglytuff is my pick, and I'm saying it right now, my pick for one of the scariest cards in this cube that no one's going to pay attention to until it's too late.
Cute.
It is. It's so cute until you read what secrets it's hiding. Wigglytuff, 90 HP, is already very, very powerful for a stage 1. Its fluffy fur ability is going to allow it to retaliate with the ability of Asleep. You damage it, it puts your opponents to sleep and puts it to your turn. That's going to be a very important factor when we take a look at its abilities. Collect is going to draw 3 cards. What an amazing setup and early game move that you can get out very early and start drawing cards. But the real magic lies in Pester. Pester does 30 damage. If the defending Pokemon is affected by a special condition, the attack does 30 plus 20. So for 2 energies, you can start punching for 50 damage to an asleep Pokemon. Oh, and you know they're going to be asleep half the time between turns. They're going to have 1 chance to flip before they get pestered. I think this is a very powerful card, and the reason it's so powerful is it's going to be able to do a lot of damage very early. So that is the Wigglytuff that is being ran. You are going to want to watch out for that thing. There's 1 Jigglypuff, and this is just a setup card. Hypnoblast is going to put the defending Pokemon to sleep. As you can see, that combos very nicely with the evolution into actually attaching another energy into his Pester. So
Yeah, great line. Good to watch out for. And as we talked about, the Dragon Slayer, as if they do have that weakness to color, Alyssa, you could be looking at doing 100 damage for 2 energies. Very strong. Delcatty is another card that I think that people are going to sleep on until they realize its potential. This is a card that is almost a must-have in almost every deck due to its energy draw ability. Delcatty has 70 HP, and with its energy draw will allow you to discard an energy card from your hand. If you do so, you will be able to draw 3 cards from your deck. It's basically like trading an energy card out for another supporter. Its max energy source attack does 10 damage times the amount of energy attached to all of your active Pokemon. That can come in a bind, and especially in decks that run higher amounts of energies on their Pokemon, it can really become a powerful secondary attacker. Skitty is going to be another huge setup card that decks are going to want to run with its minor errand running. It allows you to search your deck for 2 basic energy cards, show them to your opponent, and put them into your hand. You've seen some of the other abilities that search for 1 basic or 1 energy, but this one provides 2, which makes it very powerful. Lullaby is going to put the defending Pokemon to sleep. So a couple different options there, and it can really combo with some of the other effects in this cube. I think the Delcatty and the Wigglytuff lines are not to be slept on. And the best part is they are colorless. They can splash into any deck you're running. A solid 2-2 line of either of these can really make a difference in either your setup or your execution.
All right. So we've got eeveelution lines here. I'm gonna go probably just straight down then.
Sure.
We've got Espeon EX, 110 HP, Stage 1, Devo Flash for its Poke Power. Once during your turn, when you play Espeon EX from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may choose 1 evolved Pokemon on your opponent's bench. Remove the highest stage from that and put it into their hand. Sounds good. Then we got Snaptail for 2 colorless. Choose one of your opponent's Pokemon. This attack does 30 damage to that Pokemon. Sure. Snipe something for 30 for 2 colorless.
Very common. Yep.
Psyloop 60 damage plus for a Psychic and 2 colorless does 60 damage plus 30 more damage for each trainer card your opponent has in play. So this will count stadiums or tools. I think
so
that's it basically.
Yeah, it'll creep up a lot quicker than I think your opponent will realize.
All right. So we'll move on to Espeon Delta, Psychic Metal, 70 HP, Stage 1. Poke Power Delta Heal. Once during your turn before you attack, you may remove 1 damage counter from each of your Pokemon that has Delta in its card. You can't use more than 1 Delta per turn. Delta Heal per turn. And then if he's affected by a special condition, it doesn't work. And then we got Psyshock, 30 damage for a Psychic and a Metal. Flip a coin. If heads, the defending Pokemon is paralyzed. You want to take over Flareon here?
Yes, I can. I ran Flareon. What a fun card. Flareon EX has a really cool enter the battlefield effect with its evolutionary flame. Also, let's just not skip over the fact that it has 110 HP for a stage 1, which is very powerful. Once during your turn, when you play Flareon from your hand, you're going to choose one of the defending Pokemon, and that Pokemon is now burned and confused. Not to be confused with the Jimi Hendrix track of Dazed and Confused. Flame Screen is going to do 30 damage, and during your opponent's next turn, any damage done in retaliation is reduced by 20. And to add more insult to injury, Heat Tackle is going to be a quick 70 for only 3 energies. With the burn, the confusion, and a quick Flame Screen, you are going to be able to really, really eviscerate quite a bit of Pokemon with this one Flareon. So definitely don't sleep on that. The Delta is another really cool Pokemon with its Delta Search ability. You are going to search for a Holon energy card and attach it directly to Flareon, which can provide some other effects, which we'll get into once the Holon energy cards are covered. A return burn is a really cool effect, which you may return an energy card attached to Flareon to your hand. If you do, you can choose to optionally burn the defending Pokemon. So depending on what your situation looks like, if you're not in a good position to return the energy, feel free to just do the 50 damage, but you always have that option available, which is much more reliable than flipping a coin. Jolteon EX is a card that I am familiar with myself. Has 100 HP, not quite as much as Flareon, but that does not mean it does not pack a powerful punch. Evolutionary Thunder will allow you to put 1 damage on each of your opponent's Pokemon. You're going to want to make sure you use that at a proper time where you can take advantage of up to 60 damage for evolving, which is super strong. Second Bite is going to do 20 plus 10 more damage for each damage counter on the defending Pokemon. It should do at least 30 damage, considering you are going to be dealing 10 damage to each Pokemon. And Thunder Blast is going to do 70 damage, with just the caveat that you are going to required to discard 1 lightning energy. Jolteon Delta takes advantage of some of that steel typing and has a Delta search, just very similar to Flareon, where he's going to be able to search for a Holon energy card and attach. Return Spark is going to do a quick 50 damage, and you are optionally able to return an energy card attached to Jolteon to your hand. If you do, the attack will do 20 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. You see, we have some synergies for damage spread in this cube. Lots of different cards are going to start damaging bench, and this is just another way to apply that bench pressure. Looking at Vaporeon EX, the last of the Kanto trio, we are seeing another evolutionary enter the battlefield effect with a massive 120 HP for a stage 1. Once during your turn, when you play Vaporeon from your hand, you are going to have your opponent shuffle his or her hand into their deck and draw 4 cards. This can be super devastating if played at the right time, so you're going to want to be mindful and really take advantage of these enter the battlefield effects when you are playing Jolteon, Vaporeon, or Flareon. Fastway is going to do a quick 40 damage. It's not affected by any resistant Pokemon power, Pokebodies, or any other effects. And Hydro Splash is just going to do a quick 60. No downsides to that. I think it's a very powerful card. And it's going to partner with Vaporeon Delta with its Delta Search ability that you're familiar with. With Jolteon and Flareon, we're going to look at Return Wave. It's going to do 50 damage and has that optional return an energy card. If you do, choose an energy card attached to the defending Pokemon and return it to their hand, which is amazing. What a great way to shift tempo. Now, instead of maybe being able to attack their power up their bench Pokemon, they're going to have to rely on putting that energy back to attack, which is going to get them a turn behind on the energy curve. So I think that is a super powerful card. And they are partnered with just 2 EV options. You can pick your flavor. We have original or Delta species. The original EV is going to be used for its energy evolution, which you may be familiar with from the promotional Wizards of the Coast EV, or even looking at the one from Neo Genesis. Whenever you attach an energy card from your hand to EV, you may search your deck for a card that evolves from EV as the same type, put that card on the EV, and evolve it. Shuffle the deck afterwards. So unfortunately, it will lose the enter the battlefield effect because it was not played from hand, but at the same time, you can go from 50 HP to over 100 in 1 energy card and start to swing with a powerful attacker. EV Delta is going to be a little more calm, 50 HP, and it's going to allow you to search your discard pile for a steel energy card and just place it right on the EV.
Did we hit Umbreon at all?
Oh my gosh, I passed over Umbreon. I think that I was you were just
trying to get the trio, I think.
Yeah, I think I was so focused on the original Gen 1. Don't accuse me of being a Gen 1er. I really love Gen 2. Okay. So our buddy here, shout out to Moonshine, if you know, you know. 110 HP. Darker Ring is really cool. It's going to do a enter the battlefield effect as well. You're going to switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with one of the defending Pokemon. Your opponent will choose the defending Pokemon to switch. So another great Gust of Wind type effect when it comes into play. Black Card's going to do a quick 20, but it's going to trap your opponent there. They cannot retreat or use any Pokemon powers. And Darkness Fang is going to be punch for a quick and honest 60 damage. Seeing that you're going to be using Darkness energies, you can really pump these numbers.
30 damage for Blackrai, and you can get up to 90 damage off Darkness Fang. With 90 and 30 is going to get us to that sweet spot number of 120, meaning that Umbreon EX has the potential to 2-hit KO quite a bit of Pokemon in the cube.
Yep.
And that is, I guess, a high-level overview of the different lines, Pokemon in the cube. Joe, what do you think overall about the Pokemon you've selected, and what do you hope to see out of people that are playing or decks that you're wanting to build? I think that would be a really good kind of jumping off point for closing out the discussion we've just had on all these Pokemon.
So what I'm hoping to get out of this is there's a bunch of different archetypes, and I would like to see people play with how the different archetypes work together. So it's kind of going to be an ebb and flow type situation.
Yeah.
There's obviously going to be some super powerful cards, so you're going to get like Metagross mixed with like Gyarados or something, you know. Maybe not that specifically, but just things that are going to pair together well, and then I love to see like how everyone's decks will come together, you know.
Yep, I think that as a fellow cube builder and someone who plays cubes, I never am ceased to be amazed to see what combinations get mashed together that I would have never thought of, and watch them just excel to that next level and really change my perception on a card or a strategy. So I think that whether you're a beginner or a seasoned pro, really you can learn a lot about the trading card game strategies, and everything like that when you play a well-balanced and very diverse cube such as this one.
Yeah. All right. Do you... I know we're already at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think right now can kind of go either way for you. If you would like to continue reviewing the cards, we could go over the supported items, stadiums, tools, and special energies. Or if you would like, we can always follow up with a part 2 live stream where we could take a little bit more time to give a little bit more nuance and really go into a deep dive into these different cards. It's totally up to you. I will let you know if I do have to hop off. But if you want to save it for a part 2, I'd be more than happy to come back and help with that as well. So
I think it wouldn't be a bad idea to do part 2.
Okay, excellent. Well, I will let you obviously do the sign off as it's your channel, your stream. But I've been BK_SSB. I really appreciate you for having me on your stream today. I think this was a lot of fun, very insightful, and even myself, as someone who's reviewed this cube and played this cube, I even noticed some things that I hadn't noticed prior. So I think it's very valuable for anyone that's just interested in the trading card game, interested in this cube, or even my IRL friends and colleagues that are playing this cube. I think you can get some valuable information about watching this video and seeing the insights that we've provided. I just want to thank you again, and if you are looking to find more Pokemon trading card game content, make sure you stay tuned. Hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, ring that bell, and do all that other cool YouTube stuff. So yeah, once again, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Go visit him on Twitch. He makes great content over there. Very enjoyable to watch. Super fun.
Heck yeah, Twitch.tv.
And I'm definitely planning on doing some stuff for the Pokemon Cube coming up. So stay tuned for those videos. Hope everyone had a fun time tonight.
I sure did.
All right. Everyone, have a great night. We are Ninja34 signing out.
All right. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you.